So welcome to Unit 3, and just to recap, in Unit 2 we looked at the Maslow hierarchy of needs model linked to how children behave. We also looked at triggers or things which can affect a child's behaviour. In this unit we'll be exploring some strategies to address children's challenging behaviour. So I'd like you to take a minute now to write down the current ways in which you act as a role model when managing children's behaviour. By being a role model, I mean that you set a positive example through your behaviour and how you speak. What strategies or approaches are you aware of? Take a minute to write down your ideas, and I'll see you shortly. So how did you get on with that? I'm sure you have some really good ideas written down. The Behaviour acronym is a useful tool to help you to remember some key points. Can you think what these letters stand for? You can use the ideas you've written down to help you to complete this. I've given you a few of the answers to start you off, so take a minute now and see how you get on. So how did you get on? Let's take a look at the answers and see how they compare to yours. B is for behaviour policy and guidelines. Do you fully understand your current policy on behaviour in your setting? If not, who can you ask for help? And has the policy been updated recently? What do you think Ofsted would want to see regarding behaviour management in your setting? And E is for EYFS links, such as the unique child and children developing at their own pace and rate. Remembering the themes of positive relationships, children learning and thriving with positive relationships around them. And another E is enabling environments. The environment and routine is very important when managing children's behaviour. Think about the routine, the room layout, resources and activities. For example, do you have a selection of books, toys, paints that can be easily accessed and shared by all children? Be aware of the 3 characteristics of effective learning: playing and exploring, active learning, and creating and thinking critically. These look at what children are learning and how they are learning. Are you providing stimulating activities so that children, whatever age, don't get bored? H is for a holistic approach. Ensure you look at the whole picture. What's going on with the child in the setting and at home? Do you use a communication book to involve the parents so they can record the child's behaviour at home? A, consider the age and stage of development of the child. We know that children will behave in a certain way according to their age. In addition, your management of a child's behaviour should be appropriate for their age. For example, an 11-month-old will probably not understand instructions made up of long sentences. Single words may be more effective. V refers to your tone of voice, how loudly or quietly you speak, and whether you're giving clear, calm instructions. I is to involve parents, so there is consistency between the home and the setting. Build positive and professional relationships with parents, where you can discuss their child's behaviour constructively and give mutual support. O is for observing and monitoring the child to make an accurate assessment of their behaviour and documenting this. U is using a team approach, so there is team consistency in managing behaviour. Be sure that as a team you are all using the same behaviour management techniques so that the child has a clear message. And this includes parents and temporary staff as part of the team. If you work alone, ensure that you are consistent in your messages to the child. R is the use of rewards and praise to encourage the child and build their self-esteem. And R is also for reflecting on your practice, identifying what works well and thinking of what you need to do to change regarding what doesn't work well. And lastly, S is for self-awareness regarding how you talk to children, what you are saying and the language you are using. Do you use positive language such as, "Very good, Peter, you've drawn a beautiful picture, well done"? Or are you constantly using negative words such as don't, can't, won't, and so on? When a child shows unwanted behaviour, are you maybe reinforcing it by laughing and giving that unwanted behaviour attention? Do you go down to the level of the child and make eye contact rather than towering over them? Remember to be a positive role model. This will show in your own behaviour and the language that you use. So, having looked at some ideas to manage children's behaviour and how you can be a role model, now I'd like you to take a look at the following video and make some notes on how you would manage this situation. Feel free to go back and watch a second time if you need to. So how did you get on? The following is a strategy you could use. Approach the children calmly. Use a clear, calm, but firm, positive tone of voice. Don't raise your voice unless the boys are in danger. Calm the children down and perhaps remove the scooter until they have calmed down. Ask the children what has happened and allow them to explain in their own words. Ask them what they think they could do. This promotes self-esteem, independence, problem solving and critical thinking. If the children can't decide what to do, then offer a solution for them and see if they agree. Be firm but fair. Use clear language that is appropriate for their age. Give praise and support when they agree to the solution. Follow up by monitoring their behaviour through observation and speaking to the rest of the team and the parents. Is there anything else you would do? This strategy can be linked to conflict resolution, which was introduced by an organisation called HighScope in the USA in the 1970s. It's a good strategy to keep in mind for all ages, and this strategy teaches children empathy, learning about their own feelings and the feelings of another child, problem solving, how to solve problems on their own, discipline in terms of them learning that this behaviour is unacceptable, making choices in terms of what they can do instead. This also helps the child to feel more in control of the situation. And empowerment. This helps the children to feel proud that they have been able to resolve the situation themselves. You can find out more about this approach in our reference pages at the end of the course. These two little boys also need to be given some goals and boundaries. Read the following statements regarding goals and boundaries and see if you can replace the missing words. Pause the video for 2 minutes, complete the exercise, and I'll see you shortly. How did you get on with that activity? Here are the missing words.
Goals and boundaries for children are vital in terms of giving them structure, and by giving children structure, it will make them feel more secure. If they do not feel secure, they may show unwanted behaviour. A goal is something you want the child to achieve, linked to their behaviour, or a behaviour that you want to promote with the child. This can be linked to any aspect of their development. For example, you may want them to sit nicely at the table at lunchtimes and use their spoon to eat. Goals need to be clear and realistic for the child you are working with, as well as age appropriate and achievable. A boundary refers to a limit or a rule regarding what is acceptable in a child's behaviour. For example, they will know that they should walk along the hallway or sit quietly during quiet times when reading a book.
So we have just looked at the use of goals and boundaries as a strategy, and these should be used regularly, could be displayed in the room, agreed by the whole team, shared with the parents, and parents can be asked to contribute to these, and they may be part of your behaviour management policy. So we have looked at managing the behaviour of those two boys. Remember that observation is also part of behaviour management, and you will need to observe, monitor and follow up to ensure consistency of the strategies. Another strategy to use is praise. And when using praise, remember the following rules.
Process and outcome. Praise is not always about the outcome. Remember to praise a child whilst they are going through the process. For example, a child who is writing their name and does not finish it should be praised for the letters he or she has written. This will build their self-esteem and encourage them to complete their name in full. Think of self-actualization in the Maslow hierarchy of needs model. Realistic, make sure the praise actually fits the activity and is specific. Adjacent praise. This means that if you praise a child very often, the child next to them also feels the effect, so be aware of this. Immediate. If you praise a child during an activity, this will be much more powerful or reinforced than if you praise them after the event. Sincere. Be sincere about praise. Say it clearly as it's meant rather than a passing comment, and it will mean so much more. Encouraging and supportive. Praise is linked to building and encouraging children's self-esteem.
Lastly, when two children want to play with the same toy at the same time, you can also think about using a distraction or a diversion. These may be useful strategies which redirects them to another activity and makes them think about something else. However, this also needs to be followed up with an activity such as story time to teach children about taking turns and sharing. Do you think this would be effective? And what else would you need to consider? So well done. You have reached the end of Unit 3, and we have looked at the following strategies: conflict resolution, goals, boundaries, the use of praise, and being a role model in your approach. Remember that for all of these strategies, they must be used constantly, consistently, and you need to be fair but firm in your approach. Also, remember to work as a team with parents and other staff so that the child receives the same message from everyone.